live like a king means to rule over yourself. Welcome to this evening devotion where we reflect on what it means to live out and make visible the kingship of Jesus Christ in this world. It all starts with the most difficult thing, to rule over yourself, self-control. The trouble indeed lies with ourselves. Our self is not inclined towards God. Because of the fall and brokenness of this world in which we are living, ourselves are prone to sin. We as a default want to choose the wrong one. We want to choose ourselves. This reality becomes clear to us in the first story recorded in the Bible after the fall. The first child born from Adam and Eve faces the reality of the dominion of sin in his life. We read from Genesis 4, verse 3 to 7. In the course of time, Cain brought some of his fruit, the fruit of the soul, as an offering to the Lord. But Abel brought fat portions from some of the first fruit of the flock. The Lord looked with favor on Abel and his offering, but on Cain and his offering he did not look with favor. So Cain was very angry, and his face was downcast. And then the Lord said to Cain, "Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must master it. Sin is waiting at the door, and it desires to have you. Like a wild animal, he waits there to jump you and get you into his power." We do not know exactly what happened with the sacrifices of Abel and Cain. The writer of Hebrews declares that Abel's sacrifice was accepted because it was done in faith. When Cain realized that the Lord does not accept his sacrifice, he becomes angry and his face hangs. Has his honor been violated? Is he simply emotional because his younger brother's sacrifice was accepted and not his? Why is he angry with his brother because the Lord did not accept his sacrifice? It is unclear, but what is clear is that he is on the verge of being overwhelmed by sin. During this crisis day in Cain's life, the Lord comes to Cain in his grace. Despite the fact that Cain did not sacrifice in faith, the Lord still comes to warn him not to give in to his natural sinful inclination, and thus come into the power of sin. He also holds out to him the promise of joy if he does good. So is the Lord. He comes in his grace to sinners. In his Son, he came to this earth to die for sinners, so that their sinful self could die with him on the cross and be raised up as new people in a new life during his resurrection. A life where they are freed from the bondage of sin and where their self-tendency is directed towards God by His Spirit. And we as believers are such people who can and should rule over sin. Today there are still things happening in our lives, even in our relationship with the Lord, that hurt our self and make our faces hang. Even if we are the cause of things, it does not take away that it brings us to a point where the tendency of our old self begins to rise in us. Self-preservation, self-defense, self-maintenance. And just here it requires self-control. Self-control by being controlled by the Spirit. Get up and go and open your door. Take a good look at what sin lies in front of your door and desires to have you. Control yourself and remember the promise of God that joy awaits when you do good. Good night.